Welcome to the Scientific Investor channel. Today we have ton of news and updates to cover. We will go through different news articles and interesting Twitter posts, the news related to XRP, BTC, and some of the analysis from different providers. There are a lot of news regarding XRP and different opinions from Twitter, and some are really interesting. It connects both Ripple and Bitcoin. So we will start from the beginning as news and then move through Twitter posts, and then we will go into chart analysis. So first, this article is actually stating that if XRP price can't respect current range, the price can drop to 0.07. That's really bad news, right? So when they're actually showing this, it shows that currently the price just went below the support, long-term support, and it retested that area and went below that. So if that area is not being supported, then there can be a dump. This is the perspective of that particular author. The analysis he is conducting is like this, but at present we don't know which is the bottom, right? When we are connecting this one, we don't know whether it is going up or down. So yes, it is having his opinion. So this particular guy actually states that XRP is currently hovering below 30 cents and the world seems to be more bearish than ever. Isn't it weird how people's mind work? They become more bearish the further we drop. So usually when majority are bearish and they are selling, the price bounces up high, right? They just kick them out. Now this is a news article, we went through it yesterday too, and a similar article in which it states confirms ODL is coming to Thailand and Australia. Now this is an article which gives more detail about that. I'll link that in the description if you guys want to read through that. Now this one is showing that next year, that's 2020, hold potential XRP growth. Now that's a question mark, right? Could that hold? So we all believe that 2018 was a bad year, 2019 is going to be a bullish year, but now we are thinking it about 2020. The 2020 is going to be big. Now that is because most of the investors, experienced established investors, are thinking the same. So they are looking to 2020, during which most of the guys, retail investors, would be like, I'm tired of this, I'm leaving this, I'm gonna sell this. So in that aspect, when they dump, the price will go down and the smart money comes in and buys. This shows bearish bias for Ripple's XRP despite 5% rally. It shows that even the price went below 0.2. You can see that then it bounced a bit, but still the price is looking bearish. Now this is the perspective of this particular author, and now this shows a negative point of view. Like we go through both positive and negative news because we wanted to, these are actually FUD for me. I personally think that's FUD because this guy is actually showing that XRP is a security that allows Ripple to acquire businesses, but I don't think it that way because they're actually putting a lot of XRP into the markets, making market providers, enabling them to do transactions, business. They're widening their partnerships. So at the end of the day, what you have to think is the biggest holder of XRP is the Ripple company itself, right? So more than us, they will be interested in the value of XRP in long run. So I don't actually agree with that. So say BitLord Pump showcases that Ripple dump on the community to acquire real life business. So they are saying that as a XRP community member, I feel happy they're doing this. Now this is from XRP Yoda showcases this might come as a shock to some XRP holders. Now what we have to check is the richest Forbes magazine based on the Bitcoin holders. First is Nakamoto, which is the pseudonym for the guy who created that. Then Chris Larson, so that's from Ripple. Then Joseph Lubin, I believe, is from Ether. Then CZ. So you can see there are Bitcoin maximalists, but as well as others from other projects as well, right? So think if they are the guys who are at the top, if they want to dump, they can dump, right? But they're not doing that. They are long Bitcoin, so they actually believe in that. In the side you can see Chris Larson. I want to follow that guy. He's a brilliant guy and I'm following him right now. So this one is next from I'm the Legion. Wonder who's gonna be first to stockpile XRP. Now that's a bit old article, Twitter post showing from December 2017, XRP becomes dominant settlement currency. New corporates stockpile it for cheap, fast payments. Now, I'm Legion retweeted that November 27, that's today. Because there's a reason, right? Now, XRP is becoming a dominant settlement currency, and as David Shaws was thinking, if that happens, then corporates will stockpile it for faster and cheap payment. So now it's actually happening, the first part. So hopefully the corporates will be stockpiling that for cheap payments for the future. Now this one is from XRP Predictions. It's now what I'm gonna point out here is, the digital currency could build a more sustainable future and economy for most of the countries, the emerging countries. Now, like for example, IMF was actually warning South Africa that if they go on with the current monetary policies, their country won't be able to adapt to the situation, or it will go worse. So these are issues related to the liquidity mostly. So they need more liquidity, and now we have a product for liquidity, right? So that's on demand liquidity, which is XRP. Now former People's Bank of China head says that digital yuan will enable retail payments first, but might need a different technical design for cross-border payments. So they itself agree that for retail payments in the domestic area, it's okay, you can use your own, but in order to do the cross-border payments, you need something else, right? And what I think is, Ripple, the company, is actually working with Chinese bank, so hopefully they are gonna look at it. If they want something better in cross-border payments, they will be looking at it, right? XRP price, why it never goes up? Why it never goes up? Now this is from Iman at Strongcock 2010. Now this article is showing that why the XRP price is not going up, but that's also a positive news when you read it completely. Like it is showing you some of the guys in internet era, right? During the internet era, the price actually went lower and lower. That pushed them around 90% down. Still, they hoarded their assets, and at the end, they became the richest and wealthiest. Because once there is a new technology, then it takes time for adoption. But once it gets its initial point, it will move along. Because if you look at what happened in 2017, Ripple XRP went 36,000%. Then it was Neo, Auto, Stellar, Dash, Ethereum, and you can see Bitcoin in 1,300%, but still that's huge considering the price of Bitcoin. Now this one is a tweet from Coin Blick Crypto News showing that Ripple net expansion coming in 2020. Now, as we can see, the Ripple net is actually being expanded. Now we have new corridors like Australia, Thailand, India, US, Euro. So if this move on in a similar way, other banks and other corridors will actually come in, because it will be easy for them to do so, right? Now there's a post from Alien Vision just an hour before, which shows that hope for a green close. So if it gets closed in a green, then this is a Heikin-Ashi chart. So most of the time when you get a green chart at bottom, mostly it gives you a positive sign. Like here it's a positive sign, right? The volume is actually shifting towards the upside. Here it's a positive sign. So if you get a green close here and then move, then the price can actually reach around 10,000 if it is trading within this area. But if it is still supporting the resistance area, then yeah, it will be having an overhead resistance around 8,500. Now there's a tweet from Kevin Cage. Know what you own and know why you own it. Now that's from Peter Lynch. Now he's actually quoting him and stating, we all had enough time during these low prices to wise up, right? So it's well said. Because if you are getting more time to do this, and if you are not doing that, then personally I'll say that wasn't a good option, because this is considering the financial crisis from Jack the Ripper. The next financial crisis will be harder than 2018. This is actually being stated by most of the financial experts. And if that happens, banks, governments, central banks need something to hold on to their liquidity to move it quite faster than they can right now. Now, there's thread of tweets from C3 Nick, and I'm not starting it from the beginning. Instead, it shows the second one. A large part of the market consists of retail investors who quite frankly have no clue what makes sense and what doesn't. The prices are driven by speculation and the aspects of behavioral finance. Some projects are grossly overvalued while others are very undervalued. So at this particular point, what you have to understand is which one is actually undervalued, which one is having more partnerships, more retail use cases, more real use cases, solving real problem for real customers. So if there is some tech which is having that, you know what it is, right? Microsoft and Swift are working together to bring cloud native payment solutions Azure. Finastra, Temenos look like they are in the cloud. And who are these? We know, right? They are the partners of Ripple. Now, this is a tweet from XRP the Standard at XRP_maximalist. XRP daily transaction volume hits all-time high. It's actually dwarfing Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's superb. Like, that's the real term use case, right? The real world use case. It is being used for transactions. Now you can see the difference, right? They are in thousands, this is in million. So that's cool. Day by day, the fundamentals are getting stronger and stronger. Now, we are just in the beginning. I'm stating that because when we see this is news from another country, say Pakistan, which is having a lot of people working abroad, sending money back to the country to their loved ones. So in this particular one, you can see the CEO of MoneyGram recently met with Prime Minister Imran Khan and his key financial aides in Islamabad to discuss additional government support for MoneyGram business in Pakistan, which we aim to double in 2020. So that's not that far, right? We are already at the end of 2019, and if they are aiming for that in 2020, that's gonna be huge. Because when we look at just mostly one corridor of Mexico increased the transaction like this, then think what will happen when the corridors like towards India, Europe, India, US, and Australia, Thailand, Pakistan goes live. The transactions are gonna soar. Now, this is not directly relating or reflecting in the price of XRP, but sooner or later it will reflect. Now, I'll continue with the XRP one and then jump into the Bitcoin news and Twitter posts, and we'll discuss that. Before that, we can go through this. It states crypto analyst says XRP may reach $28 upcoming cycle despite its bearish behavior. So he's actually showing the previous trends and what happened in the history. So if it repeats, we may reach around $28. So if that happens, that's like humongous from where we are right now, say below 0.23, and looking at $28 for a traditional guy, it will be feeling like a more or less like a dream. But these things can happen, as we just checked in one of our Twitter posts that XRP went around 36,000% in 2017. So if it is to repeat, say even half of that, that's huge. Now this is from a Rhythm Trader, showing that 44,000 Bitcoin were moved yesterday in a transaction. That's 3 billion transferred for a 0.32 fee. Now check, what you have to understand is no government, bank or third party had to verify the transaction, nor could they have stopped it if they want to. Now that's the true power of Bitcoin. When we in the crypto community look at that, that's positive news. But the problem is when the banks and governments look at this is not a good news for them, right? They're not getting a chance to verify the transaction. Yes, I hope the endpoints will be regulated financial institutions, maybe, if it is dealing with Ripple the company. But here, it may not be the case, right? So, being a crypto community member, I can say that that is positive news, but that can be also a negative approach from the government. Now this shows Bitcoin will go about 10,000. It's just normal Bitcoin behavior. As we can see, currently we went below this, we get corrected. Now the same is happening. So if it is at this particular point, then we will bounce up high, then consolidate a bit, and then move up high even more. There was a debate or discussion with Anthony Pompliano and Peter Schiff. So as we all know, Anthony is Bitcoin maximalist and Peter Schiff is a gold bug. So when we say that, what we have to understand is Peter was actually just hammering Bitcoin and Bitcoiners, stating that it will go down like Titanic. They will go down with that. But in this Twitter debate, what you can see is he's telling like, I agree, Pomp is going down with Bitcoin ship like a good captain. You got to respect that. At least he's young enough to make back his losses. But the reply from the Pomp is best. Bitcoin is up more this year than gold is in the last decade. That's what you have to think. When these guys who are having that much of cash is saying, I'm not interested in Bitcoin, I'll only buy gold. What you have to think is, yes, they are doing that and the growth is not like that, right? Still, they are just hammering Bitcoin for no reason. Because if there is a wealth transfer, it will affect most of them if they are not already in this community. Bitcoin vastly oversold. Technical signs shows BTC poised to begin a new rally. Now that's from Bloomberg. Now if you actually look at that in aspect, what we can see is he states that staying careful on Bitcoin, wave 2's historically past year or two on BTC has been deep retracement, usually towards 0.786 or 0.88 level, waiting patiently to see some kind of reversal pattern on the daily to go long. So if we get a reversal pattern on the daily, then that will be the best. Now this is from Andreas. His opinion, like Bitcoin advocate Andreas defines when BTC will become more attractive to people in US and UK. Now the quote is, even while in the Western world we kind of have the best form of money and banking that money can buy, even those are horribly fragmented, slow, inefficient and full of mistakes, but the truth is that that's the best. If there is a problem, then only you can solve it, right? So existing traditional financial institutions, the brick and mortar one, has a lot of mistakes and a problem to be solved, and this new technology, blockchain, is actually solving that to an extent. Now this is because 21st century needs a 21st century system of internet money that is open, borderless, neutral, censorship resistance and all, right? We are all guys who are thinking that we need our freedom, right? We need to send, say, money to our loved one if we want on Sunday. It should happen in that second. Why we have to wait for that damn banks to open on a Monday morning if we need to do that, right? And they take how many? They take a lot of time, and the friction is too much that, say, they will collect at least 6 to 8% in fee just to transfer your money. You're sending your money to your loved one and they are taking that much fee and transaction cost. So now we'll actually jump into Coin Paprika and just check some of the charts of our loved cryptocurrencies, and we'll check those in different time period. Say first we'll actually look at XRP and try to connect some of the dots. See, we will look at its chart in daily and plot the support and resistance area which the crypto is respecting at this moment, and then we'll move on to BTC, LTC and other cryptos. So this is for XRP. Now we will look at long-term chart and analyze what is actually happening. So if we look at that, what we can see at present is that in long-term log scale chart on daily, XRP is having a trend, right? Yeah, this is more or less say the resistance area. It was broken down. Now it is retesting that area and it's happening again and again and again. So if you look at the history, what happened previously is kind of a similar thing, right? So the break above the long-term resistance line, then retesting that once, twice, again and again, making a new low. Now, as we discussed in one of our previous video, we can see a pattern here before the bump up high, and hopefully this is the same pattern, just a bit expanded here. I believe in that. So if we get a bounce here, I'm so bullish that I'll buy more of this digital asset. Now we'll look at BTC USD and check what is happening in daily, because as we can see that the price actually bumped up high. Now we all thought that this resistance line is going to be broken at this particular point, but it didn't happen. Then during our previous chart analysis, we also pointed out that there is gonna be a support here, then the support will be this extended line. So we are actually managing to get the support in this area. Buyers are pushing the price up. So if you are to trade this range, you should be putting your stop loss below the lower low and aim for a high here. Now almost all the time it doesn't happen 100%, maybe around 7, you can acquire around 75%. So target at that area. Now that's just my opinion. Now we'll actually look at Ethereum to USD, because most of the altcoins runs with Ether. Ether can be the king of altcoins for the time being until XRP starts to move. I'm XRP maximalist, you can say that, but I'm not against the cryptocurrencies because I see value in every different projects. So XRP is making the payment space easy, reducing the friction. As they left out the smart contracts previously, Ether came in to that space. There was a gap and they covered this space perfectly. So I believe Ether has its own value. It's also having adoption use cases, so with the tokens on its platform. Now in the chart we can see that it's similar to that of Bitcoin. It's getting support at the bottom of this trend line. So if someone is looking to buy, what they have to understand here compared to Bitcoin is they have an overhead resistance here, which was a previous support resistance area. It was being resisted here and supported here. So if the price manages to come above this, then I don't think there is enough to target within this range unless it comes above this target. So if it is coming above this trading range, then it is okay to look into it if you're gonna buy. Again, I'll state the breakout and a retest. So if you're buying on a retest, that'll be great, or even during the breakout, it's cool. Now we actually covered most of the news and Twitter posts today, so we will wrap up our episode here. If you guys like the content I provide on a daily basis, do subscribe to the channel and like the contents I provide. I'll meet you guys on my next video. Bye for now.